The First Purge. Lex Scott Davis and Isaiah Joyvan Wade hide from purgers in The First Purge. Annette Brown, Universal Pictures, starring Ylan Noel, Lex Scott Davis, Jovian Wade, Marissa Tomei, Rodney Paul and Patch Dara. Directed by Gerard McMurray. Now playing at major GTA theaters. 97 minutes. 1880 Sledgehammer Cinema, known as the Purge franchise, has never been about great movie making, but it strangely has become more socially current than anybody could have imagined. The societal catharsis of a White House-sanctioned night of murder, rape and mayhem across America seemed like wild dystopian fiction 5 years ago, when The Purge became a surprise summer hit during the administration of President Barack Obama. Article continued. Below now comes The First Purge, the fourth film in the series and the first under the presidential thumb of Donald Trump, a man who brags of committing sexual assault, who advocates beating protesters at his pep rallies, and who is evidently dedicated to overturning all social norms, just for the hell of it. Suddenly, fictional horror feels like factual news. The First Purge unsubtly doubles down on it with visual inference to Trump's PY-grabbing boast. Trump is never mentioned by name, and via newsreel reenactments of recent U.S. domestic turmoil, including a murderous white supremacy rally in Charlottesville, VA. Directed by Gerard McMurray, Netflix's Burning Sands, working a script by franchise creator James DeMonaco, and released on America's July 4th national holiday, this seriously bloody movie shows how something as insane as a purge might actually go down. It begins as a 12-hour experiment on New York's Staten Island, authorized by the ruling patriarchy known as the New Founding Fathers of America, NFFA. It's a long night of lawlessness designed to test a theory by a leading behavioral scientist, played by Marissa Tomei, who believes in the cleansing effect of a great rage, something like the 2 Minutes Hate of George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, an obvious influence. The NFFA has zeroed in on a low-income housing project on Staten Island, where the residents are mainly black and brown. The government cynically assumes that poor people of color are more likely to riot than affluent white ones, and to encourage them to stick around and attack each other, they're offered cash bribes that begin at $5,000 and incrementally increase accordingly to the risks participants take in violent acts they commit. Such appalling social engineering sparks a pushback movement, led by spirited community activist NYA Lex Scott Davis, for whom the purge is very much a personal affront. It's happening right in her neighborhood, and involves many of her family and friends. These include her brother Isaiah Jovian Wade, who is easily influenced and nursing a grudge against a psychotic bully called Skeletor, Rodney Paul, and Naya's ex-boyfriend Dimitri Ylan Noel, who leads a crew of drug dealers who want to protect their turf and who are suspicious of random amateur violence, as opposed to the efficient professional kind they administer. Dimitri emerges as an unlikely hero of the piece, stripped down to a muscle-popping Rambo vest and laden with weaponry as he defends his island home. It soon becomes apparent the NFFA is upping the ante by sending in waves of mercenaries dressed in black face masks and KKK hoods to incite the locals, who appear reluctant to run amok. The feds also make purge participants wear video cams disguised as contact lenses, which give eyes an eerie blue glow. Article continued below. One of the few completely credible scenes in the film is the sight of ordinary people staging a giant block party in the early hours of the purge, using their new freedom to have fun rather than to kill each other, much to the dismay of a government stooge played by Patch Dara. The First Purge may be the most believable film of the four, despite encroaching franchise fatigue, sketchily drawn characters, and numerous instances of the idiotic horror film trope of people wandering alone into deadly circumstances. It's no longer hard to conceive, if it ever was, of a U.S. president demonizing minorities and doing terrible things in the name of patriotism. This is also the first Purge movie that paints itself into a corner. We already know the Staten Island experiment will become America-wide law, according to events seen in the previous 3 films, which are set in the near future. The most terrifying thought is that in both this fictional movie franchise and in real life, the worst is yet to come.